Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the CD guy, Johnny Z here. Thanks so much for tuning back into the channel. It is December 26th, the day after Christmas, and what I want to do this year is show you guys what I got here. So, every year, friends, family, relatives, they all ask me, Johnny Z, what do you want for Christmas? And predictably, I say the same thing every year. I'm the CD guy, I want CDs, and so this is what I got this year. Pretty big haul, pretty big Christmas haul I wanted to share here, so with that said, let's get started. And the end result is this big box of CDs. As a matter of fact, there's more than meets the eye. There's more that didn't fit in this box. I've got rock, metal, and some pretty rare box sets as well. I'm going to unbox one here on the channel. So with that said, I'm going to get things started here. Let's go. So what I want to do is, kind of go in some semblance of order. So that said, we're going to start things off here with Pink Floyd and Pink Floyd related items. First thing I'm going to show here is Saucerful of Secrets. A great record here from early Pink Floyd. Very happy to have it in my collection. Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun is one of my favorite Pink Floyd deep cuts. Great song, and this album is very underrated. So at this point, trying to complete my Pink Floyd collection, and this is a must-have in my opinion. And a few great Pink Floyd live albums as well. First off, we have Pulse. Probably my favorite non-Roger Waters related Pink Floyd release, from the post-Waters era here. Tremendous live album. So many great renditions of classic tracks on here. Probably, from a guitar solo perspective, probably the best version of Comfortably Numb out there. Just great work here by the band in the post-Waters era. So really enjoyed this live album. I had previously found it at a used record show, but it was so beat up that I just had to leave it behind. So I've been wanting this one for a while. Very happy to have it. And also, we have here The Wall live. Is there anybody out there? 1980 to 1981. Tremendous live album. Double album here. Love the track listing here, Going Down the Wall. The story is fantastic when played live. It's always great. And so this era of the band here live in 1980 is very very much part of what I love about Pink Floyd, the showmanship on top of the musicianship and the storytelling. So really happy to have this live album as well. Two killer live records here by Pink Floyd. Sticking with Floyd-related items here, let's go with two solo albums by Roger Waters, The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking and Radio Chaos. Two great solo records here released after his tenure in Pink Floyd. I love a lot of Roger's solo stuff, and these are two very overlooked albums that I enjoy quite a bit. Very happy to have them. And also picked up here 1978, self-titled by David Gilmour. Great solo record and some superb guitar work as well. So in the realm of, Pink Floyd, picked up some live albums, a great studio album from the early years, and some pretty killer studio records from the solo careers of David Gilmour and Roger Waters as well. I'm going to stay proggy here, first with prog rock and then progressive metal. Discipline by King Crimson, great album here. This is the CD DVD as well, so it includes some really interesting stuff here. Video content here includes Elephant Talk, Frame by Frame, and Indiscipline. So very excited to crack open this DVD as well. Of course, the CD sounds great. Some classic tracks on here. This is the 2011 stereo mix. So really happy to have this deluxe version of Discipline by King Crimson. Great experimental record, and kind of bridging the gap here, I think between progressive rock and progressive metal. Moving Pictures by Rush. I have this album on vinyl, but wanted to get it on CD, so now I have it in two forms of media. A classic record here from top to bottom. Tom Sawyer, YYZ, Limelight, Vital Signs, all great stuff in my opinion. Absolutely essential Rush. So a great proggy record here that, like I said, kind of bridges prog rock to prog metal here in this video. And now on the progressive metal side of things, finally completing my Tool collection now with Fear Inoculum. Great album, their longest, most experimental probably up to this point. Not an album I would recommend to a first-time Tool listener, but, I love this record. I love the packaging as well. Tool never fail with stuff like that. Stuff is just so cool in here. With the album and the pictures on the inside are just absolutely sick. So I love the booklet here. It's really cool stuff, Again, Tool never come up short in that capacity, so it took them quite a while to make another studio album, but I'm happy to finally have it in my collection. How about some Zeppelin here? 3 new pickups from Led Zeppelin 3, Houses of the Holy, and Into the Outdoor, their last studio album here, which came used, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with giving a new life to a used album, so really happy to have all 3 of these. These are essential Led Zeppelin listening, and I'm still trying to fill out my Led Zeppelin collection in my, my CD collection here, so these are 3 absolute must-haves. The Rolling Stones are another band where I'm in the process of filling my CD collection here and really filling out their catalog in my collection. So 2 new pickups here, 2 classics as well, Beggar's Banquet and Let It Bleed. Great records here from, prime Rolling Stones, absolute must-haves, like the Zeppelin albums. You need that in your collection here if you're going to be honing in on your Zeppelins and your Stones. You need these records, so essentials for sure. Some classic stuff on both of these albums. Pretty perfect records as far as I'm concerned from, the classic years of the Rolling Stones. From the Stones now to the Beatles, I've got a few Beatles and Beatles-related stuff here. So first off, the Now and Then single. Finally have it on CD. Really want it on CD because that's the main way in which I listen to, a lot of my digital media. Got Now and Then and Love Me Do on here, remixed and remastered. So, I thought Now and Then was a fantastic single, a great last Beatles song. So I'm really happy to own it and have it in my collection. My collection feels complete, with this now having it. And so really happy with that. And like I said, there are some Beatles related items here in this haul as well. Paul McCartney, MTV Unplugged, the official bootleg. Great album here. Very underrated MTV Unplugged in my opinion. Got some deep cuts here from the early days of the Beatles. Got some great solo material, some covers as well. So just a lot of really interesting material on here and a great set list in my opinion. So a lot of fun to listen to is this bootleg, this official bootleg I should say, Paul McCartney's MTV Unplugged. And one more live album here, John Lennon live at New York City at Madison Square Garden from I believe 1972 here. Great album. Probably one of my favorite concerts of all time. Great show. If there was one show I wish I could have gone to in terms of, the history of the Beatles, this is definitely up there. Of course, this is John Lennon post-Beatles, but, great set list here of a lot of solo material on here. As well as a great performance of Come Together. The only Beatles song he performs here in this set list, which is interesting, but great stuff in what I believe is John Lennon's final concert. He would make some sporadic live appearances, but in terms of a full-length concert, this was, his final, if not one of the last shows he ever did live. So really wanted this on CD. Really happy to have it. Sticking with John Lennon, I got this awesome box set here, Gimme Some Truth. So awesome stuff, on this box set. You've got a great collection of Lennon solo tracks. You have some unreleased stuff as well. Really interesting. And I said I was only going to unbox one of the box sets I got here. I did get 2 box sets, so what the heck, I'll unbox this one as well. Awesome shot of John Lennon here, and then if you open it up, you can see the track listing on the back here of this packaging, which is really cool. You have these 2 items here. First off, a book here. This great book here tells the story behind all of John Lennon's solo tracks, so that's really cool. Got some great pictures in here as well. There's a nice shot of John Lennon with Elton John. This book is really interesting, going to make for some great reading as well. And then there's this. Now, this is really what stores a lot of the contents of this box set, which I'll show you guys right now. Here's some postcards here. Here's a postcard of... Here's a copy of John Lennon rescinding his knighthood, which is pretty interesting. You got the sticker here. It says, "Gimme Some Truth." All contents, by the way, remain in the box set. So, some people will, disperse the contents here. I got to keep it all together. Great poster of John Lennon. It's pretty big. I'm not going to, unwrap the whole thing, but pretty cool poster of John here. And then the CDs as well that come in here, so that's really cool. Again, some great, Lennon solo stuff on here. Great collection, I should say, of, some demos, released stuff as well. So I'm really happy to have this box set. It's really cool, and, yeah, I decided to unbox it here on the channel. Great stuff. I know they put this out a while ago, but I finally got my hands on it, and I'm really happy with that. The second box set I picked up here is probably the one item I'm most psyched about in this haul. That is this Life and Crimes of Alice Cooper box set here. The first pressing here from 1999. Never been taken out of the plastic. Never been played before. And you can tell, between a first pressing and then subsequent releases by... I didn't know this is pretty interesting, just by looking at Alice's face here up in the front. So for first pressings, Alice's face is more, back behind the bars there, so to speak, whereas in other releases, Alice's face is more pushed up against the front, which I thought was pretty interesting. So, yeah, this has never been opened before since its release in 1999. Does it say 99 on here? I believe it does. This was released in the late 90s. Here's the thing. I want to listen to it very badly, so I'm going to have to take it out of the plastic, which... yeah, I feel kind of weird taking it out of the plastic since it's never been, undone before, but I'm going to unbox it here because I really want to listen to it, and I'm going to, listen to it today, so got to open it sometime, right? So let's take it out of the plastic and check it out. This is so sick. I've been wanting this box set for a long time. I didn't think I was ever going to get my hands on it. It's hard to find. And a first pressing, too. I mean, the packaging here is so cool. This is one of my favorite box sets of all time. I mean, just the packaging, the track listing on the back, which features 4 discs here. You've got a great collection of, deep cuts, early material, all the way back to the Spiders, the original Alice Cooper band when they were with the Spiders. Stuff from Alice's solo career, some unreleased tracks as well, demos. Really, really cool, covering the career of Alice all the way up until the late 90s. So, let's open this thing up. So, here's the cover, the outer box, I should say. Very, very cool. See Alice on the inside there, looking out from the inside, right? Here we go. We got this great booklet here. This is an 80-page booklet. Very interesting stuff. Got a lot of really cool pictures and information. Here's a shot of Alice from the early years of the Alice Cooper Band. Very cool there. Alice Cooper, welcome to my nightmare. It's pretty cool. Merchandise catalog, which I'm sure doesn't work anymore. Here are the CDs. You've got disc 1 and 2 here, and here's 3 and 4. I cannot wait to, dive into these and listen to them. I'm really excited for that. Life and Crimes of Alice Cooper, one of my favorite box sets of all time. Love it to death, no pun intended, and gonna make for some great listening. Coming up next, 2 essentials from Fleetwood Mac, that being The Dance, and of course, Rumors, their massive album here, and then their great reunion live album from '97. 2 awesome records here. The Dance is a tremendous live album, great collection of some of their greatest hits with some awesome live performances of them. Also probably the best performance of I'm So Afraid and Silver Springs, so great stuff here with The Dance, and then of course Rumors needs no introduction, but it is the deluxe here, which comes with 4 discs, right? You have the original album on here. Disc 2 is live, 1977 Rumors World Tour, so I got a live album here. Disc 3, more from the recording sessions, so early takes, demos, things of that nature. Acoustic versions as well, which is pretty interesting. And then Disc 4, recording sessions, roughs, and outtakes. So a lot of really interesting stuff on here, so I can't wait to listen to this. A lot of stuff here from the recording sessions and the subsequent tour from Rumors, which I think is pretty interesting. So 2 essentials here with The Dance and Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. I'm going to move on to punk now with The Idiot by Iggy Pop. Great debut record here. Really fantastic album. The deluxe edition here. Disc 1 is the studio album. Disc 2, live at the Rainbow Theatre in London, 1977. So 2 records here I really can't wait to listen to. Iggy Pop, always a great live performer, and this album is a classic from top to bottom, right? Sister Midnight, Night Clubbing, Fun Time, China Girl, Mass Production, some awesome tracks on here in my opinion, so it's one of Iggy Pop's best, and I'm really happy to have it in my collection. And speaking of punk here, this is, I guess, going to be my bridge into heavy metal and some of the metal pickups I have here with the Misfits and Famous Monsters from the Graves era, now rounding out my collection of Misfits CDs, so this was a must-have in that respect. But there's some really underrated stuff on here in my opinion that I really enjoy, so I'm really excited to have both of these albums and add them to my punk collection, whether it be the heavier side of punk or sort of that classic 70s punk with Iggy Pop. So looking forward to listening to them. Some great pickups here in the punk department. It's all metal from here on out, starting with Savatage and 2 albums here, that being The Hall of the Mountain King and Edge of Thorns. 2 great records from 2 different eras of the band here. Hall of the Mountain King from the John Oliva era, and then Edge of Thorns from the Zach Stevens era. But 2 great albums in my opinion, even though they're both very different. 2 very underrated records from a very overlooked band as far as I'm concerned. So Savatage with some great stuff in their catalog. Happy to have it. These are 2 that I've been wanting for quite a while. Following that up here with 2 albums that, to be honest, I never thought I would own because they're just so hard to find. Black Sabbath here from the Tony Martin era. I finally have my hands on Tear and Cross Purposes, 2 great 90s Sabbath records with Tony Martin on lead vocals. Very underrated and hard to find because, a lot of those Tony Martin era albums are, not in production anymore, hard to find, things of that nature. So I really wanted these records for a long time, but just could never manage to get my hands on them. And so I was hoping for, a Tony Martin box set to come out, but Sabbath have just seemed to be stalling on that. So I'm really happy that now I finally have these 2 in my collection. 2 of the best and most underrated from the Tony Martin era here. Tear is great, got some awesome tracks on here, some great deep cuts, like The Lawmaker, the Sabbath Stones as well, Battle of Tear, Odin's Court, Valhalla is great, Heaven in Black, and then of course on Cross Purposes from '94 here, some more great underrated material like Eyewitness, Cross of Thorns, Virtual Death. So, is it top shelf Black Sabbath? Maybe not, but at the same time, I really enjoy the Tony Martin era. I think outside of Forbidden, which gets, deserves all the hate that it gets, there's some really underrated stuff on there that deserves to be talked about in higher praise, including these 2 albums. So, again, they were hard to find. It was 2 albums that I was not sure if I was ever going to get my hands on, but finally adding them to my collection, tier and cross purposes. I guess that can be my segue to one from doom metal here. Now, those two Sabbath records aren't very doomy, but early Sabbath material played a massive influence on this band, that being Candlemass with their debut record here, Epicus Doomicus Metallicus, an essential in doom metal here, and just some great material by Candlemass in their debut, like Solitude, Demon's Gate, Crystal Ball, Under the Oak, Sorcerer's Pledge. Heavy stuff here, got some bone-crunching riffs, monstrous guitar work here and vocals. Really a menacing album and one of the all-time best in doom metal, so needed to add this to my Candlemass collection. Epicus Doomicus Metallicus, one of the all-time best metal debuts. Gonna venture briefly here in extreme metal with Macabre and the Sinister Slaughter album. Macabre are one of my favorite underrated bands in all of, death metal, so this is probably their best record here, the Sinister Slaughter. Great record, from top to bottom. I'd say Macabre are one of the most unique and different bands in all of extreme metal. Nobody sounds quite like them. They're very creative as well, and this album is a fantastic example of that. An album that I guess you could say is a cult classic because they don't have a big following, but they do have a loyal following. So Macabre, great band, and this is probably their best album as far as I'm concerned. From 1994, we have Strange Highways by Dio, but what's really cool here is I was able to acquire the Japanese import of this album. Very hard album to find, you'd be surprised, but great album to have and own, right? Very heavy stuff here by Ronnie, a pretty angry record, but to have the Japanese import makes it even cooler, in my opinion, and can't wait to listen to this album and dive into tracks on here like Jesus, Mary, and the Holy Ghost, Hollywood Black, Evolution, Pain, Give Her the Gun is great, Bring Down the Rain, super heavy to close things out. Love this album. I'm really happy to have the Japanese import. Just kind of adds another layer to it. So I think that's really cool. And, Dio's fantastic. Just about every one of his studio albums are great. And so Strange Highways is no exception. Got some miscellaneous ones here. Blackout by the Scorpions. Awesome album. One of their best known records, right? Just top to bottom. Absolutely stacked. So many awesome songs on here. Also, Animal House by Udo Dirkschneider, his solo debut, featuring a collaboration here with Accept on the track Lay Down the Law. Great track listing, very heavy stuff. Udo, fantastic vocalist. And, also here what I picked up here was Degradation Trip Volumes 1 and 2 by Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains. His second solo album, really heavy album. I think some of this stuff could easily pass as Alice in Chains material. Some great work by Jerry Cantrell, great guitarist, great riff master, fantastic vocalist as well in his own right, although he gets overshadowed by Lane Staley from time to time, but great album here by Jerry Cantrell. I've always liked his solo stuff, so really happy to have this one as well. Well, we've made it to the end of the box here. One more here. Let's go with Still Not Black Enough by WASP, the last one in this haul. Great album to have, really underrated stuff here that pretty much nobody bought when it came out, and it's so hard to find. You'd be shocked at how hard it is to find this record, but finally have my hands on it. Still Not Black Enough by WASP. You can see Blackie here, Blackie Lawless on the back. Great album here, very underrated, like I said. The follow-up to the Crimson Idol from 1992. Look at the track listing. Still Not Black Enough is great. Black Forever, Scared to Death, Goodbye America, Rock and Roll to Death, I Can't, and No Way Out of Here. Some awesome material that never gets talked about, when it comes to some of WASP's best stuff. So definitely an album full of underrated and really hidden gems. And again, super tough to find. So I'm really happy that I was able to track it down, and now it's a part of my collection. Still Not Black Enough by WASP, which I believe now finishes off my WASP collection. I think I have everything now, so that's really cool as well, and really happy to have Still Not Black Enough. Again, super hard album to find, but it took a while, but I finally got my hands on it. So that wraps up this monstrous post-Christmas CD haul. 'Tis the season, which is why I'm wearing my festive Iron Maiden sweater. I hope you guys had a great holiday. If you celebrate Christmas, hope you guys had an awesome Christmas with family, with friends. I hope you guys had a great one. I picked up a lot of awesome CDs here, some awesome gifts through family and friends, so I'm very grateful for that and wanted to share them with you here today on the channel. So with that in mind, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, turn on the bell for notifications so you never miss a new upload. You never know when I'm going to be uploading one of these, crazy, massive CD hauls, so definitely stay tuned for some more in the future. And of course, please let me know down in the comment section below, what are some new pickups that you've recently acquired in your collection? I want to hear from you. And until next time, it's the CD guy, Johnny Z, signing off. Take care, everybody.